I sit here in front of you guys, furious at myself, disgusted at myself for making a mistake, adultery. I love my wife with all my heart.
Everyone thought the misconduct scandal ended when Kobe Bryant gave his tearful public apology. But years after Kobe's death, the accuser has returned, demanding $5 million. Word is, Vanessa Bryant collapsed in court after hearing it. But the money is the least of her worries, because the demand came with a hidden tape that could completely rewrite Kobe's legacy. Here's the full story. The 2003 scandal, the story that brought them to this devastating moment, began just weeks earlier, on June 30th, 2003, in the picturesque mountain town of Edwards, Colorado. Kobe Bryant, then 24, had arrived at the lodge and spa at Cordillera for knee surgery scheduled the following day. What was supposed to be a routine medical procedure would instead become the catalyst for a scandal that consumed the Bryant family and forever altered the trajectory of their lives. It was at this luxury resort that Kobe encountered Caitlin Faber, a 19-year-old hotel employee working as a front desk concierge, who gave him a tour of the property. Later that evening, what began as what appeared to be a consensual interaction spiraled into accusations that shattered the carefully constructed image of one of America's most beloved athletes and plunged his family into a nightmare from which they would never fully recover. The legal team's words from that day still echo with chilling clarity.
Kobe Bryant is innocent of the charges that were filed against him today. He stands falsely accused of an extremely serious crime, a crime that carries with it the potential of a life sentence. No prosecutor should file charges unless the evidence is so strong that the case can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
On July 1st, 2003, Faber reported the incident to the Eagle County Sheriff's Department, claiming Bryant sexually assaulted her. The medical examination that followed painted a disturbing picture. Faber had sustained a bruise on her neck, and tears and blood were found on her underwear and Bryant's t-shirt. The physical evidence was undeniable, but the interpretation of what it meant would become the crux of a legal battle that consumed the next year of the Bryant family's life. When investigators confronted Kobe on July 2nd, 2003, his initial response revealed the panic of a man whose world was crashing down around him. Bryant initially denied having sexual intercourse with Faber, but after being informed of physical evidence, including semen, he admitted to the encounter, insisting it was consensual. His admission was both damning and revealing. He acknowledged holding Faber by the neck during sex, describing it as his thing, and noting his strong hands, but claimed he assumed consent based on her body language. This admission became the cornerstone of the prosecution's case and the source of unimaginable anguish for Vanessa Bryant, who was at home caring for their infant daughter, Natalia, born just months earlier in January 2003. The woman who had stood by Kobe through his rise to superstardom, who had sacrificed her own dreams and ambitions to support his career, now found herself thrust into a spotlight she never wanted, forced to confront the devastating reality of her husband's infidelity in the most public and humiliating way imaginable. An arrest warrant was issued for Bryant on July 4th, 2003, and he surrendered in Eagle, Colorado, being released on a $25,000 bond. The image of one of basketball's most recognizable faces being processed like a common criminal sent shockwaves through the sports world and beyond. Here was a man who had represented excellence, dedication, and the American dream, now facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. The formal charges came 2 weeks later, on July 18, 2003, when the Eagle County District Attorney's Office charged Bryant with one count of felony sexual assault, which carried potential penalties of 4 years to life in prison, or 20 years to life on probation, plus fines of up to $750,000. It was on this day that Kobe and Vanessa faced the media together, presenting a united front, even as their private world was disintegrating. The press conference was a study in contrast. Kobe's public admission of guilt for adultery, while maintaining his innocence on the assault charges, and Vanessa's silent but powerful presence beside him. She released a statement affirming her belief in his innocence, saying, "I know that my husband has made a mistake. The mistake of adultery. He is not a criminal." Her words were carefully chosen, acknowledging the infidelity that had already been made public while standing firmly behind her husband's denial of criminal wrongdoing. The raw emotion in Kobe's voice as he addressed his wife was palpable, revealing a man grappling not just with legal consequences, but with the devastating impact his actions had on the person he claimed to love most. But perhaps the most telling detail of this entire ordeal was what happened just 3 days after the charges were filed. On July 21, 2003, Kobe reportedly gifted Vanessa a $4 million, 8-carat purple diamond ring. The timing was no coincidence. This wasn't just a gesture of love, but a desperate attempt at damage control, a tangible symbol of remorse that would later be dubbed by the media as the apology ring. The extravagant gift spoke volumes about the depth of Kobe's guilt and the magnitude of the betrayal Vanessa was grappling with. The ring became a cultural touchstone, representing everything that was wrong with how wealthy, powerful men often try to buy their way out of the consequences of their actions. The Daily Beast later noted that the ring contributed to the case being reduced to something of a punchline in popular culture, overshadowing the gravity of the allegations. But for Vanessa, this ring represented something far more complex. It was simultaneously a symbol of her husband's remorse and a constant reminder of the worst betrayal of her life. The legal proceedings that followed would drag on for over a year, subjecting both the Bryant family and Caitlin Faber to intense scrutiny and public judgment. Pre-trial hearings in December 2003 addressed evidence admissibility, with Bryant's defense team, led by Pamela Mackey, challenging Faber's credibility by alleging she had sex with another man shortly after the incident, based on semen and pubic hair found in her underwear during the rape exam. The defense strategy was as aggressive as it was controversial. They raised Faber's history of mental health issues, including 2 alleged suicide attempts and medication for schizophrenia. This approach, while legally sound, had devastating consequences for both families involved. For Vanessa, each new revelation about the case meant reliving the trauma of her husband's betrayal while watching helplessly as another young woman was torn apart in the media. Despite his proclamations of innocence, the damage to the Bryant family was already extensive and irreversible. The case took numerous unexpected turns between March and August 2004. Multiple delays occurred due to evidentiary disputes and media leaks, with Faber's identity being mistakenly released by the court multiple times, leading to death threats and public harassment. The impact on their marriage was profound and immediate. Kobe later stated in a 2015 documentary that the stress from the legal battles and his infidelity contributed to Vanessa suffering a miscarriage of their unborn child. This devastating loss, coming on top of everything else they were enduring, added another layer of tragedy to an already unbearable situation. The turning point came on August 10, 2004, when Faber filed a civil lawsuit against Bryant, seeking unspecified damages for pain, suffering, and public scorn. This move raised concerns about her willingness to testify in the criminal case and signaled that the focus was shifting from criminal justice to financial compensation. By this time, Vanessa had endured more than a year of public scrutiny, media speculation, and personal anguish. The young woman who had fallen in love with a basketball prodigy and dreamed of a fairy tale life had instead found herself living through a nightmare that played out on front pages and television screens around the world. The $5 million demand, the criminal case that had dominated headlines and consumed the Bryant family's life for over a year, came to an abrupt and unexpected conclusion on September 1, 2004. The charges were dismissed when Faber informed prosecutors she was unwilling to testify, citing intense public scrutiny, death threats, and a loss of faith in the judicial system due to court errors. For many observers, this seemed like the end of the Bryant family's legal nightmare.